Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. It's totally free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. You want to help support my channel out? Description box below, very top link, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And finally, just underneath that in the description box is another link. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 10,200 members in the group, and it is doing simply marvelous, my dear. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group on there 365. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, here we are, guys. Here we are again. It's hard to believe, man. The 5th game we're at. I mean, we ain't got a bye week for about I think year 2027 or something. So the bye week's going to start kicking in, but not for the Giants. Not for a long time, right? Not for a long time. But this is obviously, as we get ready to preview, right? This was one of the games, and obviously this doesn't mean nothing, right? Any given Sunday, right, as we saw the Giants knocked off the Chargers. The undefeated Chargers got knocked off by the winless Giants, right? This was the one game, obviously, that we were looking at on the schedule. That was winnable. If you want, there were woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Cowboy game was winnable. The Chiefs game was winnable. I mean, we did not do very good against the Commanders, but I mean, the Commanders did not blow the doors off us, right? But looking at the schedule, right, when it came out, oh my God, we're playing the Commanders who went to the championship game, right? Then we're playing the Cowboys who haven't beaten them since Jesus Christ walked the earth. Then we got the Chiefs coming into town. Then we got the Chargers coming. Like, oh my God, we're going to start 0-4. Well, we were close, right? Then you finally saw the Saints and say, oh, well, there's a winnable game, But the thing is, the Saints are looking at the schedule and going, the New York Giants, there's a winnable game, right? So it is what it is. It's not so much, what do you call it? Sometimes who you play, it's when you play them, right? So the Saints, they've played relatively close competitive football. Okay. They had the one game we got a little out of hand, but I mean, they went toe for toe against the Bills, right? And the Saints are winless. Last time we played the Bills, we were in Buffalo. We went toe for toe against woulda, coulda, shoulda, and all. We should have beat the Bills, right? We went toe for toe. The Giants did. Wasn't this year though, but right? So I mean, majority of the games are very close. That's what the NFL wants. They want the parity. That's what they got. I mean, they got some very good football games, very close, very competitive football games, and usually it's a few plays here, a few plays there. That decides the outcome, right? It's going to be obviously a little difficult there now, or different, because now we're in the dome, the Nolans, the Superdome. It just, super loud in there, really, really super loud. The nice thing is that Jaxson Dart, during his college career, he's played in some rather large and loud stadiums, so he's used to that. But Giants are definitely going to have to get their P's and Q's in order, right? On offense, right? Don't want no false starts or anything like that. I mean, the one, it was just like we had the It was GVR. What the heck was it? We got down to the 2-yard line. Was it after Sexy's? I think it was. It might have been after Sexy's interception. He got down to the 3. I think it was. I don't even think we even snapped the ball. Penalty. False start. Now we're back to the 8-yard line. Right? It's like, what the, So, yeah, you can't be shooting. When you're not a good team per se, right? You have a very hard time winning, right? You can't be shooting yourself in the foot. Like one of the things that really helped last week was, as far as like with turnovers, the Giants didn't have any. We had a couple fumbles that we recovered, thank goodness. But other than that, we didn't have any turnovers, right? The Chargers, right, goes to show you, they had the 2 turnovers, which led to 10 points for the Giants. Was it 10 or might have been, or was it 11? Because we got a field goal, then we got a touchdown, then we got a 2-point conversion. So it was 11 points we got off those turnovers, right? I mean, you look at it, right? I mean, it was complimentary football. The Giants played very good complimentary football, last week. Offense did enough, ran the ball a lot, right? The defense pressure up the wazoo, right on Herbert. Got those 2 interceptions. Got the 11 points off. Because I said, you look, think about it, right? After the first drive of the game, we walked down it was 9 minutes to go in the first quarter, whatever it was after we scored the touchdown. The offense basically scored 3 points the rest of the game. Right now, we had we went for it on 4th down at the end of the game. If you could have scored a touchdown, they would have put us up by 10 points instead of just 6. I get it. I understand. That was a tough call. Do you go up by 6? Quite, because it would have been a very short field goal, right? So do you go up by 6 and leave that, if Herbert gets the ball and they walk down the field and they score a touchdown, they kick the extra point, we wind up losing by a point. Or do you go for it and you put yourself up by 2 scores and really, I don't want to say put the nail in the coffin, but really make it very difficult for the Chargers. So he went for it. I couldn't blame him either way. Yeah, if you wanted to kick the field goal because the defense was really playing good, put yourself up by more than a field goal and make them actually score a touchdown, I'm for it, But he went for it. The ball, I love what Dart did on that one play, right? I mean, you see, and he's just in the infancy, right, of his NFL career, right? The guy came in, he dodged, dived, ducked, dipped, and dodged, right? The 5 Ds of dive. Right? He got to the outside, Dart did, right? Bought himself some time and lofted the ball, right? Didn't gun it in there, tried to lofted it in there. Wandell went up, just got knocked out, right? Wandell was able to hold on to it. He had it, but just got knocked out. If he was able to hold on, that would go up by 10 points and really, but it is what it is. But, it was very complimentary football. The Giants are going to need to do that once again. The Saints, of course, I don't want to say a giant killer, but Taysom Hill is supposed to be coming back for his first taste of action. He's been out. I'm gonna read a little bit of that, but he always seems to do very well against the Giants. And the thing is with him, let me see here. Let me read this. Where we at? Here we go. Here we go. Taysom Hill is set to make his 2025 debut. Saints announced that they have activated Hill from the physically unable to perform list on Saturday. Hill is coming back from a torn ACL that he suffered last December. Now, the thing is, because coming back from a torn ACL, a lot of times you may be not quite as good as you were, right? The problem is with Hill, is he's not like Malik Nabers, right, where Malik is going to be on the field 95% of the offensive snaps. He just, Malik, there's the outside. That's where you're going to be lining up. We'll see you at the end of the game, brother. If you die, we'll take you off the field. Other than that, brother, you're on the field. That's not the way it is with Hill, right? He's like the Swiss Army knife. They got packages for him. He comes in there and he rips your head off. I mean, it's difficult. Whatever he does is very good. He's like the Scatterbill, right? He comes in there, and especially if he's got the ball, very tough to tackle. But he's not in there. If they put him on a drive, if it's a 15-play drive, they'll put him in there, then they'll pull him out. Then they'll put him in there, then they'll pull him. He's not the fullback for 15 plays. He's not, So when he comes in there, he's raring to just kill somebody. Absolutely, just whether it's a block, whether he throws a pass, catches a pass, runs, whatever. The freaking guy can do just about anything. And he does it balls to the wall like Scatterby does. Well, I thought when Scatterby's in there, he's in there for majority of the drive. So he still might get a little tired. But I mean, like with Hill, he goes in there and then he comes out. Then he goes in, then he comes, So unfortunately, we're getting the first taste of Taysom Hill. Congratulations, Giants. He's always seemed to do very well against the Giants. So. Plus, the Giants don't ever seem to do very well in the Superdome either. I mean, it is what it is. Right. But then the Saints have also activated. We're going to go over the injuries in just a second here. Hill's listed as a tight end, but the guy can do anything. I mean, he can throw a pass, catch a pass, right? Run the ball, block, whatever. Whatever you want the guy to do, he can do. And he's going to do it at he's not Barry Sanders. He's not Saquon Barkley where he's jumping over somebody. He ain't that, but whatever he's got inside of him, he's like Scatterbill. He gives you everything. He leaves nothing on the field, right? Hill's listed as a tight end, but he's a jack of many trades during his Saints career. He caught 23 passes, ran for 278 yards and 8 touchdowns, and threw 4 passes for the Saints just last season alone. Okay, he has 8 touchdowns just last season, and he caught 23 passes, ran for 278 yards, and he has 8 touchdowns. So, whatever he does it at a very high level. Okay. Foster Moreau is a more traditional tight end, and he will also be activated from the PUP list. He's returning from a knee injury as well. The Saints put wide receiver Trey Palmer on the injury reserve and waived tight end Maliki Mataveo. I might have gotten that right. To make room for these 2 returning players. The elevated linebacker Iku Leota to the active roster from the practice squad to round out the day's moves. So, I mean, got to keep an eye out for, Mr. Hill. I mean, guy's a Swiss Army knife, and he's been there for a while, too. All right, where are we at here? All right, so, also one of the things the Giants have to do, the Saints always seem to have now Ruiz. Let me see here. Wait. Here we are. Now the Saints have 4 guys. So four guys ruled out. Cesar Ruiz, their guard, he's been ruled out. Okay. Right. But the Saints always have a very good offensive line. Let's try your now, one of the things the Giants have to do, I mean, it sounds like almost like a broken record. They have to, watch out against the run. It's one of the things that they still have not done a very good job of is guarding against the run. Now, of course, we got some dude by the name of Alvin Kamara. Maybe you've heard of him. On the other side, he what do we got here? He's 30 years old. He's run how many times has he run the ball in his career? I just want to see how many touches he's had. I mean, this guy. I mean, where are we at here? Wow. 1, 2. He went to 5 straight Pro Bowls from 2017 to 2021. The guy was really a real special talent. But this is his 9th season, so he's going to start. He's starting to get a little wear and tear, hopefully, right? He's had over 1,600 rushes in his career. And he has almost 600 receptions. So between receptions and running the ball, he's had over 2,200 touches, not including his college career. So, you get, once you hit like 2,000, I mean, that's where Saquon's at right about now, about 2,000, okay? That's a lot of touches, Now, he's averaging only 3.9 yards per carry, okay, which is certainly, down. I mean, he's usually averaging over 4 yards a carry, but he only has one touchdown. Alvin Kamara's got 65 carries, 256 yards. His longest is only 18 yards, okay? But the Giant, he's averaging 64 yards rushing per game, right? And then, of course, receiving. He has so far. What's he got? He's got 13 passes for 49. He only averages 3.8 yards of reception, so he's not really being lights out, okay? But they have Kendra Miller, who is averaging 4.4 yards a carry. Spencer Rattler will run occasionally. But they don't have – they got Devin Neal, a running back who's run the ball 2 times. And I said then the other guy, they got Kendra Miller, who's run the ball 28 times. So I got about every 3 carries, Miller will run the ball once and Kamara will run it twice. Now, as I said, don't forget, Taysom Hill's not in here. Has any stats yet? Okay, so he's gonna start getting some carries, right? But I said one of the things the Giants have had a problem with is still stopping the run. Now, why, what, who, where, when? I have no idea why the Chargers was it 13 carries they had all last game. They had like 150 yards. You take out the Herbert scramble and the Hampton run. Right, there was about 80 yards between those two. They still had like 70 yards rushing on 11 carries. I don't. I mean, they were down by 2 scores, but it wasn't like, they were down by 2 scores with like 3 minutes to go in the game. I mean, there was plenty of time to go in the game. I don't understand if you're gashing the other team with the runs, why don't you keep running the? I don't know. Especially Harbaugh likes to, especially when he was with the 49ers, he liked to run the ball. I just don't quite understand. I mean, I guess if you got Herbert there, you got a shiny toy. Right? Let the dude throw the ball. I guess I can understand that, but I mean, I don't understand why they didn't run the ball more. So now the Giants are a little weak up the middle. Okay, you know how like in baseball, you want to be strong up the middle with a good catcher, shortstop, second baseman, and center fielder. If you're strong up the middle, especially if you have a good fielded pitcher, that's really special. That's really helpful. Well, the Giants are a little weak up the middle, obviously, because ever since we lost McFadden, DJ Davidson's been injured, Nacho's been injured. Now our 3 safeties they're all. I believe everybody's going to go. Okay, I think Fowles has been declared out once again. Okay, so we're a little banged up the middle, right? So the Giants got their work cut out for them. I mean, it could be, Rattler hasn't done super phenomenal. What's he got so far here? Throwing the ball. Complete 67% of his passes. He has 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Right? It's not bad at all. Okay. He's 98 out of 146. But, they're 0-4. Okay. They do have some good wide receivers, especially Olave. Let's see, who do they got here? Johnson has 22 receptions for him. Olave has 26. Shaheed has 18 receptions. But the one thing is they got quite a few guys catching the ball. Brandon Cooks has 11 receptions. Kamara has 13 receptions. But there's not one guy on the whole team. Now, this is one of the things that also helps possibly where You know, with Rattler's 67% completion percentage comes in, and it's like, oh, that's pretty good. That's not bad. Completes 2 out of every 3 passes. But there's not one guy on the whole roster who's averaging 10 plus yards per reception. So, yeah, they're not completing long passes. All right, so, but Rattler's he's been so far very good with the football, completing 2 out of every 3 balls. Only has 4 games, 1 interception. Pretty impressive. But they are 0-4. Okay. I said the Giants, have a hard time. They always seem to have a hard time in the Superdome, but hopefully should be a good game. As long as as long as the Giants don't, turnovers would be huge. The Giants get them, or whether they, don't turn them out, that would be huge. I mean, that was a big turning point for the Giants last week. Right? We were +2, and we won by 3 points. So, all right, what do we got here? All-time series. This will be the 34th regular season meeting between the two teams, with the Giants having the lead at 7. The Giants have won 17 times. The Saints have won 16. The last the teams met last season in Week 14. That was the last time that the Saints won. Was Week 14 of last season. The Saints won. The Giants' most recent victory over the Saints was on October 3rd, 2021. So we haven't beaten them almost 4 years to the day, right? Because today's October 5th. Well, we beat them October 3rd, 2021. Let's see. When we defeated the Saints on the road in overtime, 27-21. That was a good game. Remember, we fell behind. And then Daniel Jones brought us back. We wanted tying it up, going in overtime. Saquon had a good caught a pass, faked some dude out, and took it off into the end zone. We wound up winning over. It was a very, very good game, very exciting game. Right. Let's see. Yeah, Flanagan fouls the inside linebacker. He's out with a hamstring. So we are a little weak up the middle. Right, and I said, especially our I'm going to go over the injury list a little more depth and detail in just a second here, but also our safeties are all a little banged up. They're going to play, but they're banged up, right? So, all right, we've got here. Dart hits the road. Jaxson Dart's first NFL start was nothing short of success. The 22-year-old rookie completed 11 of 20 passes, 13 of 20, got 11 of 20. It's 13 of 20. For 65%, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions for a passer rating of 96. He had an additional 54 yards on 10 carries, and if it wasn't for the one holding, now to be fair, I don't know on that one scramble that Dart had, whatever it was, I don't remember, 30 yards, 40 or whatever it was. Where at the end he took his throwing hand and he stiff armed the dude in the helmet with his throwing hand. And even Dart said afterward, yeah, that wasn't one of my best, my smartest decisions, right? Sure, yeah. But now I don't know, because that one got called back because of holding, I think, on John Michael Schmitz. Now, I don't know if the hold allowed him to scamper. Don't know, right? But Dart, he'll take off. He'll take off. The one thing I do like about him, okay, is that somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was pointing out, okay, was it Wiley? I remember Wiley, the former NFL player, was mentioned. He was comparing like Shedeur Sanders and Jaxson Dart, okay? He was saying one thing that Shedeur Sanders does, okay, which is really not very good, unless you're like a Michael Vick, okay? When you're in the pocket, okay, and maybe you don't have the first read right away or something, maybe they're covered or whatever, do you climb the pocket or do you bail? If you bail and you're not Michael Vick and you're more like a Shedeur Sanders, that's not good. Because these ends and all of that, they're going to catch you, okay? good luck catching Michael Vick. I mean, good luck. But Shador would bail and he'd try to get outside, and all that, and make something happen. Jaxson Dart, what he does is, gets back in pocket, right? Feels a little pressure or whatever. He climbs the pocket. He looks at a couple of reads, right? And then, but if he senses there's like Moses, the parting of the Red Sea, and the angels sing, oh, right? And there's an opening, he'll just take off, right? That's one of the things about, climbing the pocket, okay? You're looking, if you sense, something opening up in front of you, you just take off, right? So that's one thing, and that's something you don't want to take away from him. That's how he got it, where he is. You don't want to take that away from Jaxson Dart. If he runs, he runs. Just try to get down, slide, and if you're going to stiff arm somebody, please, not with your throwing hand, for the love of God. You start breaking a couple fingers here or something. I mean, say something got you caught in the guy's ear hole or something, and you snap your finger and it goes whatever, or it breaks. I mean, it's not going to be as easy to throw the ball. Or if you get your fingers caught in his face mask and something, and you break a couple fast, something, it can be a little difficult throwing a football, especially if they got to be taped together. So let's be a little bit more smarter, okay? But I said, but you don't want to totally reel him in because that's who he is, right? I mean, it's like, Lamar Jackson. He's got a hamstring injury. I don't think he's playing. I don't think. But I think that was from a scramble or from a run. Well, yeah, that's how he got where he is. Do you want to take Lamar? Just don't run anymore. That way you won't get a hamstring injury. Yeah, that's how we got where he's at. That's why he's so special, because he can run, right? So you really don't want to take that away from him. But unfortunately, when, running quarterbacks, they get hit. It is what it is. But, all right, let's see here. Dart's first drive as the starter. He led the offense 89 yards down the field, completing both of his pass attempts for 20 yards and rushing for another 28 yards, including his 15-yard touchdown run to get the Giants on the board. He became the first quarterback since Patrick Mahomes in 2017 to lead a touchdown drive of 80 or more yards on his first possession of his first career start. While Nolans has had some struggles slowing down opposing quarterbacks this season, especially on the ground, it's always a challenge to go into the Superdome and pick up a win as the road team. You ain't kidding. Offensively, we're going to have to do a good job of communicating, Dable said, from getting the play in to Jackson communicating to whatever snap count we choose to use relative to how the sounds are there, which is usually loud. You simulate and try to do the best you can here at practice, but it's definitely one of the keys in terms of being able to communicate and operate and stay on track and eliminate some of the pre-snap things that when you play in a dome stadium that's loud like this. So we're going to have to work at it out here, blasting as loud as we can. I mean, that's one of the problems. Is that you're trying to, emulate the soundness of the dome while you're outside. I mean, it's like, you can, blare some stuff, but until you're actually in the dome, it's a little bit different. Then, of course, filling in for Mr. Nabers, right? I don't know, Now, we're going to talk about this, too. It's also a bit odd because the Giants did not elevate anybody wide receiver. I'm going to talk about this from the practice. So I think we got 5 wide receivers going in. So, we got Darius, we got Wandale, we got Hyatt, we got Bo Collins, and we got Gunnar Olszewski. So, it's like, we got 5 wide receivers. I thought they would have elevated somebody, but I guess not. I said you just can't replace Malik Nabers on offense. The young wideout quickly established himself as one of the NFL's premier talents, and his loss is undoubtedly a tough blow to the Giants' passing game. Yep. Wando Robinson exploded for 8 receptions and a career high 142 yards against the Cowgirls in Week 2, showcasing his ability to line up both in the slot and on the outside. Now, you figure pretty much he's probably going to be in the slot. I mean, I know they have had Hyatt in the slot. Now, one of the things Hyatt maybe has sometimes maybe he's getting off of, somebody right in his face. Okay. So, I mean, maybe trying to put him in the slot where you can get maybe a free release and just use his speed to just try to blow by the people. We'll have to wait and see. But a lot of times, Hyatt and Slayton are on the outside. So, Wando will be in the slot. It seems like anyway, most of the time. Right? Coach Groh does an awesome job of getting the guys prepared. Assistant head coach, offensive coordinator Mike Kafka said on Thursday, it's really just a next man up mentality, whether it's Bo Collins, Jalen Hyatt, or Gunnar Olszewski, right? But you kind of figure it may because Gunnar's obviously the return man. You're not so sure if you're actually going to see him on the field on offense, right? So basically, we have like 4 wide receivers, right? We got Slayton, we got Wando Robinson, and maybe Collins and Hyatt might, go in and out. But probably, I'm guessing Hyatt will get the majority of the snaps. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, if you all of a sudden you put Collins in there for one series, and all of a sudden it's like, he catches a pass, whatever it is, 8 yards, 10, whatever. It's like, all right. Oh, Collins caught a ball. All right, we're quarter and a half into the game, we put Collins in for one series and he caught a pass. If we're in there for a quarter and a half and Hyatt hasn't caught a ball yet, so maybe we'll try Collins in there. So if Collins can get a hot hand, him and Dart can get something going. We'll have to wait and see. But I would imagine Hyatt's going to be out there first. Right? The pass rush gets going. So, I mean, the thing is here, though, is that let me see. Does it show how many sacks they've given up so far? It's been sacked 9 times in 4 games. So, Rattler gets sacked twice a game. I mean, we sacked Herbert twice last week, but we hit him about 800 times, though. So just because you only sack him twice a game doesn't mean you can't get pressure around. But the Saints' offensive line is usually pretty good. They got the one guard, Ruiz, who is out, okay, which will help. But I think the Saints' offensive line is in a little better situated than the Chargers was, right? So it's not going to be quite as easy to get at Rattler, although, no pun intended, it might be easier, see what I'm going to do here, to rattle the Rattler. See what I did there? Huh? Than it is Herbert. I mean, Herbert's just, seasoned veteran now, right? He's seen a lot. He's played a lot, right? So, but maybe we can rattle, right? Rattler. Maybe get him to throw an errant pass or something like that. But as I said, he's only, Rattler's thrown 1 interception all season long. Herbert threw 2 interceptions last week alone, right, from all the pressure, right? So it'll be key. It's going to be key, right? Trying to keep Kamara under control so he doesn't wreck the game, but also, keep Rattler, I don't want to say he's been going, because he has completed 67% of his passes, but as I said, nobody on the team is averaging over 10 yards of reception. So he's completing a lot of short passes, right? So the Chargers quarterback last week was under duress for the most of the games. The Giants got pressure on an impressive 47.7% of his dropbacks, led by 20 total pressures from their 3 outside linebackers alone. Herbert managed to complete just 5 of 19 passes for 80 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception on plays he was pressured. So pressure is huge. Carter led the way with 8 pressures as the number 3 overall pick now has 19 pressures on the season. Good for the 9th most in the NFL. Not too bad for the 3rd overall pick, huh? Meanwhile, Burns and Kayvon each picked up a sack in last week's win, with Burns now up to 5 on the season. The 27-year-old is tied for the most sacks in the league through his first 4 weeks of the season, which has not come as much of a surprise to head coach Brian Dable, who saw him take his game to another level dating back to the spring. So they got players to watch, right? Wan'Dale Robinson, Giants won't be able to make up Malik Nabers' absence with just one player alone. Nope. However, Robinson stepping up in the passing game would go a long way to helping the passing attack make up for at least some of Nabers' usual production. For the first month of the season, Robinson's 18 receptions matched Nabers for the team lead, while his 27 targets and 237 receiving yards ranked second. The fourth-year wideout could emerge as the team's new top option in the passing game, starting this weekend in New Orleans. As I said, let's not forget, this is a contract year for him, right? He's going to want, whether it's for the Giants or whether it's for another team. This is huge for, Hyatt, huge for Robinson, right? Because it's like, if he can, step up his game, or keep it going as well as it's been going, right? At the end of the season, if Shane is still here, right? You don't know, or whoever the GM is, right? Look at it's like, well, we lost Nabers and Robinson's still trucking along. Boy, that guy's whether Nabers is there with Robinson or whether Nabers is out and Robinson is very, very reliable. We might want to make sure we try to keep this guy. Let's get this dude under contract, right? I said, or if not with the Giants, if he can put up another great season like he did last year, right? Now he could take over the team lead as far as targets, right? He was second fiddle last year behind Nabers, although he got a ton of targets last year, right? Between Wan'Dale and Nabers, they had over 300 targets between the two of them. This is huge. Not huge for Hyatt, but it's also huge for Robinson too. Right? We got Paulson and Debo versus Chris Olave. Now, Debo's. But obviously, this is right. Debo coming home, right? It's the team that we got him from. Right? Saints. He's going to want to show up on this one. He's had a couple opportunities to catch interceptions. Nothing so far. So this might be a real good time to show up. Pick off a pass or so, right? Get some passes defense, right? Not only that, but it's also talking about Dart as well, too, because everything you hear, right, from all of the so-called gurus, which I am not, said if you took Dart in the top 10, it was going to be a little bit of a reach. But early second, maybe late first round might be a more appropriate place for him to go, which is where he wound up going. He traded up the Giants. Yeah. Now, one of the things was, questionable, was when pick number 9 in last year's draft rolled around was, the Saints could use a quarterback, right? They passed up on him. So, Dart has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, too. He thought there was a possibility the Saints might take him, right? Well, they took Shuck in the second round. Shuck fell to him. That's where they took him, okay? But the Giants went up and got Dart, right? So, so the Saints didn't go out of their way to grab Dart, right? So he has a little chip on his shoulder there, so. And then, of course, Alvin Kamara. Can we keep this guy, right? Brian Dable told the media Wednesday that it will be all hands on deck to try to contain Kamara on Sunday. The talented dual-threat running back has taken 65 rush attempts for just 256 yards, 3.9-yard average, and a touchdown this year while adding 13 receptions for 49 yards. So he's like a little over 300 yards on the season. Right? Well, this might be less production than we're accustomed to seeing from the 30-year-old running back. Make no mistake, he is still a dynamic threat, and the Giants will have to keep a close eye on. Oh, absolutely. Without question. Make sure he doesn't destroy the game. Now, obviously, he's on the back end of his career. I mean, he's been around, his ninth season. He's had over between running the ball and receptions, over 2,000 touches. That's a lot. That's a lot of wear and tear on the body. Right. So he's on the back nine of his career. Okay. But still, you give him a hole, the Giants, gap, let a hole like what they did last week with Hampton. Whoever was supposed to fill that gap, whether somebody didn't get out far enough or somebody didn't squeeze in far, whatever it was, right? Can't have that happen because you can't have, you can't give a bad team hope, can't give a bad team life and all that stuff and everything. You got to just take their life, take their heart, their soul, take the life out of the stadium and all that, right? So hopefully, should be tough to say if it's going to be high scoring or not or anything, but I'm sure it'll be an entertaining game. I don't really see either team blowing either team out, but that's why you play the games, right? Now, Giants and Saints, the final injury report. Now, the Saints have about 4 guys out. The Giants have 1, Flanagan Fowles. He's out again. Okay, so the Giants have been banged up the middle. I mean, we've had a few defensive tackles on the mend. Some guys have missed games. We've had quite a few inside linebackers miss time. As I said, we also have the 3 safeties, our top 3 safeties are all dealing with some type of issue. But for the most part, it looks like, as banged up as we are and all that, everybody should be good to go. Okay, according to Coach Dable. So, all right, so let's go over this long for both teams. Okay. All right, let me pop this up here. Share the screen. All right, where are we at here? Okay, we go. Injury report. Okay, here are the Saints. Okay. Yeah, quite a few guys here. Okay. They got Juwan Johnson ankle. He's questionable, which means obviously what questionable means is a good chance he's going to want to play. Doubtful is where there's, a good chance they won't play. But questionable, you put them in. Certainly ain't no guarantee. But it's a good chance Juwan Johnson, the tight end, will want to play him. Then you got Trevor Penning. He has an ankle. He's questionable. But good chance, once again, he'll want to play him. He's questionable. But it's an ankle. Okay? If you're an offensive lineman and you got an issue with your ankle, advantage defense. Okay, so Penning's a tough dude, right? I'd be rather shocked if he doesn't wind up playing, cutting it out. But, if he has an issue with his ankle, advantage defense. Okay. Then Dylan Radins, he has a toe. He's questionable, right? Cesar Ruiz, ankle, he's out. So they do have between Penning, Radins, and Ruiz, they got some of their offensive linemen are either out or banged up. Okay, a little bit like what happened last week with the Chargers. So let's hope maybe the Giants once again can take advantage of that. But regardless of that, the Saints seem to always have premium draft picks on their offensive line, right? Okay, then Chase Young. Chase, I'm always injured Young. It's such a shame because the guy's such a phenomenal talent. He has a calf injury, and he's out. Okay. So that's helpful for the Giants, right? But the guy's the same. He's always injured. And Taysom Hill with a knee, his ACL. It's a question of what he says he's active, so it looks like he'll be playing. Foster Moreau, his knee, he's questionable, but he got activated. So once again, it looks like he'll be playing. Trey Palmer, an ankle, he's out. Justin Reed, their safety, he's full participation in practice. John Ridgway, their defensive tackle, with his shoulder, he's questionable. Isaac Yadam, have you heard of him? Because the cup of coffee he had with the Giants, he didn't do too bad. But I mean, of course, they never. I don't know if they didn't try to bring him back or exactly what it was. I don't know. But when he was with the Giants for the 1 year, he didn't do too bad. but he has a hamstring and he's out. Okay, so one of their cornerbacks is out, so that's helpful. Okay, and then one of their defensive tackles, Devon Godshaw. I'm going to say it was just rest. Looks like he should be good to go. All right, then we got the lengthy list here for the Giants, but yeah, everybody's. Yeah, we got one. We only got 4 guys with injury designation, so that's pretty good. Now, one of them is Sexy Dexy. Now, he had apparently, we don't even know, some type of an illness. Once again, you don't even know. I have no idea. Could be just he's getting 4 veteran days or 5 veteran days in a row. Sexy, dude, whatever. Right? You just take the days off. We'll say you got an illness. Right, so he could just be resting up. That's all it could be. Who knows? But apparently he has some type of illness. But he's questionable, but I'd be rather shocked if he doesn't wind up playing. Okay. Then we got Tyler Newman. He has a groin, unfortunately, groin, and you're out there in a safety trying to move around and all that. A groin isn't your best friend. Okay, a pulled groin. But he's questionable. Then Tyrone Tracy with his shoulder, he's doubtful. So once again, but he's certainly trending in the right direction. Now, the thing was, of course, was with Tracy was, if it seemed like he was going to be bad enough, right? They might have put him on some type of the IR, right, where you can, put him on the IR. You can miss 4 games, and then you bring him back. But they didn't do that, right? So he's trending in the right direction. So he's close. So if not this week, right, let's hope maybe next week. Because once again, the Giants did not elevate. I mean, it's weird. Well, the Giants don't have much salary cap space, okay? So it costs a little bit more money to elevate a guy from the practice squad to the 53. The Giants do not have much salary cap space at all. So the Giants did not elevate, I'm going to talk about this in a second, a wide receiver, and we only got 2 running backs. I don't know. I'd love to see me a little bit of turbo out there. A little bit of turbo. The one thing is that we did so well. Now, once again, when Turbo was out there, to be fair, in the preseason, all right, just to be fair, against backups, okay, we did so well in the screen game. Right? How many times did you see just dumping the ball off the Turbo out in space and he'd run and pick? Once again, it was against backups, right? But I don't know. I just love to see Turbo out there if we could. But all right, then we got Greg Van Roten. Just looks like a rest day, right? Veteran rest day. Okay, Dane Belton, one of our other safeties, he has a shoulder. DJ Davidson. They got defensive back DJ Davidson. Yeah, somebody's smoking some crack here. How about defensive lineman? DJ Davidson with a foot. He was full participation, so he'll be good to go. Right? Chauncey Golston with an ankle. He has nothing over here, so he should be good to go as well, too. It'd be good to see because he's been out for a while. Right? Javon Holland, the neck. So, so obviously all our top 3 safeties, right? Oh, yeah. Holland's got a neck, Belton's got a shoulder, and Newman's got a groin. Top 3 safeties all got a little nicked up, but they're all going to play. Okay. I said Javon Holland, I said, right, he's got a neck, but he's going to go. John Michael Schmitz with an ankle, but he was full participation on practice on Friday, so he's good to go. Nacho, look, he's no injury designation here, so he's going to be coming back. So, I said we've had Golston's been out, DJ Davidson been out, Nacho's been out, and we've had a bunch of defensive linemen who've been. We've only played 4 games, but they've been out, for weeks. Right? Well, Nacho's going to be finally back, so maybe he can hopefully help in the run game a bit. Right? Jaxson Dart with the hamstring. You don't have to worry about that. Cam Scatterby with a knee. He was full participation. Russell Wilson with an ankle. I'm not sure how he hurt his ankle standing on the sideline, but I guess it is what it is. Andrew Thomas' foot. He had a rest day. I'm not even going to talk about it. If that dude doesn't want to practice it all the rest of the year, I ain't got no problem with you, Andrew. We'll see you on Sunday, brother. The guy's been back. He played like 27 snaps or so, 29 snaps against the Chiefs. We played the whole game last week. It hasn't allowed one pressure yet. So he's come back and he's picked up where he left off at. So he's still the stud that he is. Let's hope that Andrew Thomas can stay healthy for a season. And let's hope at the end of the season he doesn't need another surgery on his foot or ankle or something. Let's hope. Okay. And then Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, hamstring. Okay. They got him here as questionable, but apparently he's out. He's the only guy that the Giants have out. But so we've had up the middle. We've had defensive linemen banged up and out. We've had inside linebackers banged up and out. U.S. Sal's missed a game. Flanagan-Fowles missed a game. Mike McFadden, what did he play? A quarter, and he's missed part of the season. The rest of the season so far. And all of our safeties up the middle, right? All our safeties, they're all banged up. So we're all banged up the middle. So so that's going to be something. That's going to be something to keep an eye on, right? We gotta stop this. Gotta stop the run, right? And especially with somebody like Spencer Rattler, right? Alvin Kamara in the backfield is his best friend. Get that running game going, right? So now they got Taysom Hill in there. You don't know what that dude's going to do. You don't know. The guy could just be in there to block. The guy could be in there to run. The guy could be in there to run a pass pattern. The guy, you can flip the dude the ball and he can throw the ball. You don't know what he's going to do, right? And I said the thing that really scares you about Taysom Hill is because he's not in there all the time. He goes in there for a play, maybe two, whatever, then he goes out. He's out there. He's on the sideline, fresh as a daisy, runs in the game. And especially the thing is, especially when you get down toward the goal line and the defense is like all gassed after a 10, 12, 13 play drive and it's down around the 5-yard line. Everybody's sucking wind and all that and everything. They put Taysom Hill in there, who's fresh as a daisy, and he just runs over everybody. So, all right. Now, so the Giants only elevated from the practice squad, just two guys. Now, apparently, I guess McAtamney is still, he hasn't lost the job yet. Okay. Young Ho Koo is still on the practice squad. Okay. Now, I don't know if it's a weekly competition between the two of them. They're going at it, but Jude did what he was supposed to do last week. That could be also going to be good and interesting to say once again. For the third season in a row, he's injured. What are we going to do with the guy after the season's over? Right? We got Hey Jude right on the practice squad. Can he be our full-time kicker going forward? Right? So we're gonna have to wait and see. But the Giants didn't elevate Turbo. Okay, and like Little Jordan, who's not so little. I thought we would have elevated him, but nope. So, all right. So we got the Giants. Let's see. Elevate a place kicker and a linebacker for Sunday's game versus the Saints. Jude McAtamney again gets the call as the team's place kicker. Giants are elevating place kicker Jude McAtamney and linebacker Neville Hewitt from their practice squad for Sunday's game against the Saints. This is the second straight week they elevated McAtamney, who made 2 short field goals and an extra point last week in place of injured kicker Graham Cannell, who was on the IR. Giants also have veteran place kicker Young Ho Koo on their practice squad. This is the third and final elevation for Hewitt. They do it again, right? They have to sign him to the 53. The Giants will have to add him to the 53-man roster after this week if they want to have him available on game days. Giants are not elevating wide receiver Lil Jordan Humphrey from their practice squad or signing him to the 53-man roster. In fact, the Giants still have 2 openings on their 53-man roster after having placed wide receiver Malik Nabers on IR and waiving edge rusher, once again, Toman Fox, who was re-signed to the practice squad. I mean, that's happened about 35 times so far with Tobin Fox. They bring him up, they elevate him, they let him go, he clears waivers, and they put him back on the practice squad. Right. Giants have also announced that linebacker Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles has been ruled out of Sunday's game. So, not filling those roster spots is likely a form of cap gymnastics from GM Joe Shane. Now, got the interesting to say, keep an eye on if there's somewhere along the line where we have to wind up restructuring somebody's contract to free up a little bit of cap space. All right, going forward. Giants have just $1.683 million in salary cap space per over the cap, which is last in the NFL. So we ain't got much room. And you figure this is only week 5, right? We got a long way to go. And there's a good chance that $1.683 million is not going to cut it for the rest of the season. So we probably might have to free up some salary cap space. But the one nice thing about that, okay, is it's not like use it or lose it. If we free up some space, and we say free up restructure somebody's contract and free up like an additional $5 million, you get that $5 million, okay? And if you don't use it, you don't lose it. You carry it over to the next year, okay? So the Giants will have to find a way to clear some cap space to get through the remainder of the year, right? And they said, so they only have 5 wide receivers on the roster, right? And I said one of them is Gunnar Olszewski, and they're going to want him as pretty much obviously as their return man. So I'd be rather shocked if he winds up getting much playing time on offense. So for the most part, they have 4 wide receivers. That's Slayton, Robinson, Hyatt, Collins. Okay. If somebody goes down, they're pretty much, one guy goes down, one wide receiver, they're pretty much covered. Because Hyatt has played in the slot. I'm not sure if Collins can play in the slot. He's a big guy, so I'm not sure. But so if Robinson gets injured, Hyatt can slide into the slot, and Collins can maybe go outside. If somebody on the outside gets injured, they got Collins who can come on and take on the outside. So if one guy gets injured, they are covered, right? But you said they have basically 4 wide receivers. And really look at it. They have 2 wide receivers who have had production in the NFL. And the other 2 guys, you got Bo Collins and you got Jalen Hyatt, Jalen Hyatt has, I think, 31 receptions. In his first 23, and he had 8 receptions. Jalen Hyatt, basically between this season and last season, has like 8 receptions. Then we have Bo Collins. So, the other 2 guys between Robinson, other than Robinson and Slayton, the other 2 guys, there's not a lot of production there. Okay, so, and as I said, we did not elevate another running back. So we're going to go into this game with 2 running backs. Right. Now, we've had Theo Johnson in the backfield, so it's like a fullback or something like that, right? But as far as just a running back, we only got 2 guys in the backfield. So hopefully Tyrone Tracy, right? Because I said we still got 2 roster spots, right? But hopefully Tracy might be back next week. Now we can put him on the 46, right? Whatever it is, 46, 47 that we dress on Sundays. And, he can maybe go in there for a series or so and test out his shoulder and see how he's doing, right? So maybe next weekend we'll see Tracy again. But it's just only having 2 running backs. It's a little bit scary, but it is what it is, right? Now, once again, this is his name is really, it's like Michael Woods II, right? They worked him out. Right? They've been just doing their due diligence. Okay. They brought in a guy, Samari Toure, who was with the Montana Grizzlies, I think, for 3 years or 4 years, whatever it was. And then he had 1 year at Nebraska. We didn't do too bad. But he hasn't done much of anything. It's Toure I'm talking about, much of anything in the NFL. Well, Michael Woods is pretty much around in that same category, but the Giants are just doing their due diligence. Doesn't hurt to bring these guys in and try them out, right? So, where are we at here? All right. So the Giants work out former Cleveland Browns draft pick. As the Giants navigate the aftermath of wide receiver Malik Nabers' season-ending torn ACL in Week 4, the team is aggressively scouting talent to reinforce its passing attack and depth. On Friday, the Giants hosted a series of free agent workouts, targeting wide receivers and quarterbacks to address immediate and long-term needs. Among the attendees was former Cleveland Browns sixth-round pick Michael Woods, whose blend of size, speed, and untapped potential makes him a compelling option for Big Blue. He's 6'1", 204 pounds. He was selected by the Browns in the 2022 draft, 202nd overall. Okay. Out of Oklahoma. Now, he played for 2 colleges. I'm going to go over that in just a second here. His rookie year showed flashes of promise with 5 receptions for 45 yards, primarily contributing on special teams, which makes sense here because with bringing in Woods, they're doing their due diligence. That's all. He has special teams capabilities, right? When they brought Touré in, okay, they played it all on special teams. Now, rather weird. I mean, to have a guy on, with that lack of production as a wide receiver, and you're going to put him on the practice squad if he did good, right? And he doesn't play special. That would just really, especially if you had to elevate him, and he doesn't really play special teams. It's like, but with Woods has played some special teams. However, setbacks followed. A ruptured Achilles in April 2023 sidelined Woods for the entire season. It's that freaking shame, man. And a 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy further delayed his momentum. Woods rebounded last season, appearing in a limited action and boasting his career totals to 12 catches for 110 yards, waived by Cleveland in July with an injury designation. The 25-year-old remains a high upside prospect. Scouts praise his route running polish and deep threat ability. Hallmarks from his college days, where he amassed over 1,000 yards in his final season. For Giants offense seeking explosive playmakers, Woods can provide cost-effective depth behind Darius Slayton, Wando Robinson, and Jalen Hyatt. Joining Woods were fellow wideouts Samori Touré, Raheem Jarrett, and Brandon Johnson. And I did a video on Touré. Now, we got it. Raheem Jarrett, a speedy undrafted free agent from Maryland who did a 4.44 40. It's a lot of fours. And Johnson, a physical University of Central Florida product, previously with the Steelers, and versatility to mix. The Giants also evaluated quarterback Seth Hennigan, Memphis record-setting passer with over 14,000 college yards. And Tanner Mordecai, SMU's and Wisconsin's prolific gunslinger who spent time on the 49ers practice squad. But let me show you here. Let me share my screen here and show you, what Woods did. Okay, here we go. His college stats here. And he played for 2 colleges. Okay. Arkansas. Right. So with Arkansas, 2018, 19, and 2020, right? What do we got? Okay. Yeah, nothing super spectacular, right? It sees at Oklahoma, right? 2021, 35 catches for 400 yards. Nothing super spectacular. 11.4. But in Arkansas, 19.3 yards of reception, 5 touchdowns in 2020. Okay. Now he had over, 1,600 yards, he averaged 14 yards of reception. He did have 12 touchdowns on 118 catches. So basically 1 out of every 10 catches went for a touchdown. Okay. As I said, 14 yards of reception. Yeah, not too bad for his college career. But let me show you also PFF, right? Show you got, It plays a little bit of special teams. I gotta find them. Here we go. Right, a little bit of special teams. So I mean, if he was right to be signed to the Giants practice squad, if they had to elevate him for whatever reason, he would be a backup as a wide receiver, but he can play on special teams. Okay, so this was, when was this? This is last season. Okay. It's like the final 4 games of the season. Week 18 he didn't play in. Okay, but weeks 14 to 17 he played on special teams. Kick return, he had 20 total snaps, 2 on kick coverage and 18 on kick return. Right, he graded out a 58.6, which is not super duper spectacular, but once again, he did play on special teams. Now you look here, right? In 2022, because remember 2023 was he ruptured his Achilles? Was that what it was? I think it was. He missed all 2023 season, unfortunately. But in 2022 with Cleveland, you'll notice down here, right? He had 85 total special team snaps. Kick coverage, punt return, kick return, right? 57.7 is not a super duper spectacular rate. Usually it seems like, for special teams, when I look at PFF a lot, 60 is about like what is, normal, right? You get below 60, okay. You get above 60, you get around 70 on special teams. That's really good, okay? But you start dipping below 60, that's nothing really super spectacular, but it just goes to show you that he can play special teams, right? So I said, so if they were to wind up signing, Woods, right? He can't play special teams, right? But once again, the Giants are just doing their due diligence. I mean, it never hurts to bring people in, right? I mean, is there a diamond in the rough out there? It might be, sure. But I mean, there's 32 teams looking for that diamond in the rough. It's not like the Giants have some special crystal ball. We're going to let's bring this guy in. I'll bet you he'll do real well. Nobody else knows about him. No, there ain't none of that. Yeah, nobody knows about this. Yeah, everybody knows about him. It's a highly competitive league. Everybody knows about everybody. I mean, so yeah, there's just not that many, unbelievable, amazingly special talents out there, right? As I said, we're talking about especially with the wide receiver and stuff like that. Like OBJ, he's still out there. Well, there's a reason why he's still out there. Now, to be fair, right, the last couple weeks of the season, okay, if a team. We could just use somebody, we could use a little bit of wide receiver depth, right? We don't got a lot of money, but it's only the last few weeks of the season or something like that. Maybe you sign somebody like him, right? But I mean, anybody who's a free agent and they're still a free agent, there's a reason why. So, once again, the Giants just doing their due diligence, right? I mean, it's just amazing how many guys come in, different guys come in for either just have tryouts or who make the team or on the practice squad, or it's just amazing how many guys. And you figure this is just the Giants, and you figure all the other 31 teams do the same thing all the time. They're always bringing guys in and out. Right. All right, and finally, I've seen this here. This is. In this picture, good old the old MetLife turf monster. Well, good old OBJ. He wrote a letter, right? Because he knows how it is. He knows what it feels like to have his season ended, right? Sterling Shepard. I mean, just the one game he ran what was it? He ran like 5, 6, 7 yards, no contact. Boom, blew his knee out. It's like, it's just unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. Yeah. As I said, I mean, a lot of the, what would you say? The players, like about 90% of them say they want to rather play on grass. A lot of them don't like this turf. Just a shame. Just a shame. I mean, what is the cost not so much of turf or grass or nothing, but what is the cost of a lost season when guys get injured because the turf that you play on? What's the cost? Now, what's the cost of losing Malik Nabers for the entire season? Yeah, he played 3 games this year, basically. What's the cost? So basically, pretty much close to about 14 games he's going to miss this season. Now, if he was playing on grass, would this have happened? Interesting. But we got it. Malik Nabers' injury revives concerns over MetLife conditions. The major knee injury suffered by Malik Nabers has reignited discussions about the turf playing surface at MetLife Stadium. One executive from an opposing team said this week that due to the field turf playing surface, his players are petrified of playing at MetLife Stadium. Petrified. The executive added that if a player is nursing an injury, he might be less apt to play through it for a game at MetLife. Others also are aware and concerned. NFL Players Association interim executive director David White was in Newark, New Jersey on Monday for a scheduled visit with the Giants as part of his fall team meetings. And while he was there, he raised the issue of MetLife's turf field and its ongoing history of season-ending lower extremity injuries. Nabers suffered a season-ending torn ACL and meniscus in his right knee Sunday when he leaped for Jaxson Dart's pass. The wide receiver immediately reached for his right leg as he was in the air and landed hard on the ground. MetLife Stadium, the home of the Giants and the Jets, installed an updated version of field turf called the Field Turf Core System in 2023 that hope would decrease injuries. Last year's MetLife had one of the lowest injury rates in the league among fields using grass or turf, according to the NFL. Overall, there were fewer ACL injuries last year on synthetic turf than grass, and there's been no difference so far this year, the league said. While at least 15 players have suffered knee ligaments or Achilles tear at MetLife since 2020, the majority came before the new turf was installed on March 2023. Some of the more notable ones included Jalen Phillips, 2023, Aaron Rodgers, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard, Jabril Peppers, Nick Bosa, wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr., and Brandon Marshall also suffered significant ankle injuries at MetLife in 2017. The Jets say the research shows that since 2023, grass fields have had more knee ligament or Achilles tears, with 38 injuries happening on grass fields and 23 on turf. And since the turf update in 2023, 3 injuries have happened at MetLife Stadium. They say far more of these types of injuries happening in training camp than during the season. The NFL adds with both the Giants and Jets at calling MetLife home, the stadium hosts twice as many games as venues with just one team, which is true too. So, MetLife ranked 9th best when it comes to lower extremity injuries, according to the NFL's injury data from 2024. And for visiting players who are typically more vulnerable on unfamiliar surfaces, MetLife actually graded out first, safest in the NFL. Beckham posted to social media Sunday night asking for the NFL to please get rid of the blanking turf. In each of the past 2 years, more than 90% of players have said through the NFLPA's annual survey that they prefer to play on grass instead of turf fields. One NFLPA official said via email this week that its office has heard from players who are puzzled by stadiums that are changing to grass for the Club World Cup and the World Cup, but sticking with turf for football, which is what the Giants are doing. Despite any outcry, the NFL has no plans to change out the latest playing surface at MetLife Stadium. Nabers' injury shined a spotlight on the turf issue again, but one NFLPA official said the topic was percolating even earlier after Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow suffered a toe injury while playing on the field turf at Paycor Stadium in Week 2. Burrow underwent surgery September 19th and is expected to be out at least 3 months. The Bengals were among the teams that switched to field turf core system in 2023. So, I mean, it is interesting. Very, very interesting. One of the things that, Mr. Maris talked about, right, in the past is that it's very difficult to have two teams playing on the same field. Basically, you want to look at it, every week there's a game. One week maybe the Giants are away, the next week the Jets are away, then the Giants are away, then the Jets. So basically, just for the most part, right, there's always a game being played every week at the stadium, right? If the grass was there, it's very, from what Mr. Mara was saying, it's very, especially in the Northeast, especially once like November rolls around, and it's tough to get the grass growing and fertilize, and all of that, especially in December when the weather gets really bad, and now into January and all that. It's very, very tough to have the upkeep on a field, on a grass field, right, in the Northeast, especially when a game is being played there pretty much every week. And sometimes you could get like a Giants playing a game maybe at MetLife Stadium 1 o'clock on a Sunday, and then maybe the Jets are playing Monday night at MetLife Stadium. So then you got two games being played in the same field, right? In a matter of whatever, 30 hours or whatever, So it's very, very difficult. It's not so much he doesn't want to, change out and put in grass. Because remember, we did have grass from the 2000 to 2002 or 2000 to 2003. It was either 3 or 4 years we had grass at it was Giant Stadium. It was Giant Stadium. But between the Giants and the Jets playing there pretty much every week, it was always getting chewed up. Like I said, like what you have like with the Eagles or maybe the Commanders, kind of more in the Northeast, but there's only one team professional football team playing there, right, on the grass. So basically the Eagles play there. If you put, say, 2 preseason games and 8 regular season games, that's a total of 10 games being played, okay, on the field throughout the whole season. So you figure August, September, October, November, December, and some of January, right? So you got 5.5 months. There's a grand total of, so you got say 5 months, you got 10 games being played there in 5 months. So basically you got 2 games being played on the surface every month. 2 games. That's not a lot. That's manageable, especially even in the Northeast here. I live about, if I got my car and drove, went across the Walt Whitman, got on 95 going south, it'd take me about 30 minutes to get to Eagles Stadium. Okay, so I live about 30 minutes from Philadelphia Eagles Stadium, right? So it's, it can get pretty nasty up here in the Northeast, but if you're only playing 2 games on the surface, on the grass, 2 games in a month, that's very manageable, right? Like Lambeau Field, right? It's been grass, never had turf there, right? Said, where the Commanders play at, the Eagles play at. Eagles, that's a beautiful stadium. Can't stand the Eagles, but that's a beautiful stadium. I really love it. I tip my cap to the Eagles because they play on freaking grass. Tip my cap to you guys. But, so that it's doable. But when you got 4 games in there every month for like 5.5 months or whatever it is, it's very, very difficult. So it's not so much that Mr. Mara doesn't want to change it out. It just, it's just not really feasible because if he did change it out and put grass in there, by halfway through the season, it's going to start getting chewed up, and they can't keep resodding it, or they're not going to keep resodding it every week. They just start getting told whatever November and all that. You just can't really resod it because it's very difficult to get the roots to grow and all of that. When it's 30 degrees outside. So he said it's just not very feasible. He did say though that if there's ever a point in time, right, where the Giants get their own stadium and the Jets get their own stadium, right, that's quite possibly the time when you maybe start thinking about putting grass in there. But until then, looks like we're stuck with turf. But it's what those reports were showing you, since they put the new surface in, there has not been a lot of lower body injuries. So, what the report also says that there's twice as many games being played at MetLife Stadium. So even though Malik Nabers went up, and when he came down, his season was over with. So far since the 2023 season, MetLife, the field, the surface, and all that, for the most part, right, has been relatively safe. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 21 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. It means well to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.